So finally we get a protagonist of sorts for this anime, someone who attacks fellow psychics with fire powers, and yet what is interesting, and this was the whole point of this episode, is that the protagonist, Senri, was previously a good person before the Shibuya earthquake, and now she's a crazy pyrotechnic. It's all very interesting because it raises so many questions about Senri herself, and if she is actually this anime's protagonist, then she has my attention, people. So in episode 6 of Chaos Child, we find out that Yui is actually an acquaintance of Takeru's younger sister, because Yui went with her younger sister to school before the earthquake happened, and Yui somehow gets to stay in Takeru's home with the hope that Yui will become more comfortable, and then she'll talk more about the clinic of which she was previously kidnapped from. Kunasato and the detective also deduce that Yui has the power to make people do things, as Yui was escorted from the detective's place to the clinic with the help of that older woman. Kunasato, after cracking a joke which didn't really make any impact on her cynical character, deems Yui to be potentially very dangerous, and Kunasato is probably right. Yui is probably hiding something evil. Meanwhile, Takeru deduces that the strange deaths all over Shibuya have a connection to the arson attacks that happen all over Shibuya, and since he himself was previously attacked by a pyrotechnic, Takeru believes that the pyrotechnic is the prime suspect of the deaths. He and Hine also deduce that the pyrotechnic is Senri, of whom they saw a photo of in the clinic previously. So then, because of some forced perversion by Takeru and the still useless Itao, Takeru takes the group to dinner, even though they all just theorize that there will be another attack on the day that they're all going to dinner together. Are these characters trying to get themselves killed? Then, would you believe it, Senri suddenly appears and she stalks Takeru and everyone else disappears for some reason. Now, this part is strange because visually it looks like Takeru is having a delusion similar to the delusion created by Yui previously to get herself to the clinic. So, was Senri's attack in the restaurant a delusion created by someone else? So Takeru wakes up from his delusion and then he is inspected by his doctor father, only to find that there is nothing wrong with him. Now, this is where this episode does something really simple, yet really cool. At Takeru's house, Takeru, Hine, and Nono talk about Senri and how Senri was such a nice person, and whilst this is all happening, Senri, in the present time, walks towards the house creepily. Oh my goodness, all that simple contrast was a really clever way to build tension, and once more, Senri getting to the house was no delusion. So then Takeru's younger sister sees Senri outside and screams, and Hine makes a weapon out of psychic power and she goes outside in a violent mood, only to find that Senri is gone. Now, I know that it's clear at this point that characters are not this anime's strong point. They're mostly two-dimensional and most of them are useless, but the most complex character that we have seen so far in this anime is Hine, not because she is three-dimensional in any way, but because she is such an inconsistent character. One minute she's evil, the next minute she's in control, the next she's scared, and now she wants the death and destruction of Senri. What the hell? Inconsistent much. So yeah, I'm really glad that this episode didn't give us any fantasy action bullshit like in the last episode, and it stuck to being a mystery anime. It totally achieved what it set out to do, and it painted Senri as a very mysterious protagonist whom I want to find out more about. The only slight disappointment was, yet again, characters being inconsistent as characters. But anyway, now that there seemingly hasn't been any deaths on the day that the characters thought that there would be deaths, let's see if the characters will be able to get closer to Senri, and if they find out why Takeru gets all these delusions every time he sees a Zumo sticker.